This story happened several years ago. I'm 22 years old now, and at the time I believe I was about 14 or 15. It was the summertime, and I lived at home with my parents in our pretty average house. It was nighttime, and I had gone to bed after a hard day of playing video games and enjoying the warm weather. I was sleeping great until I woke up in the middle of the night for seemingly no reason. I rolled over in bed to see on my clock that the time was almost 3 a.m. I then casually looked around my dark room and then out the window which was beside my bed. When I did, I saw there was the face of a clown looking directly into my bedroom window and staring right at me. It was a really creepy looking clown. My heart immediately started pounding and I jumped back. When I did, the clown suddenly ducked down from the window and then disappeared out of sight. I then screamed and ran out of my room terrified. I ran into the living room, and my parents must have heard me yelling because I heard the door to their room open and saw them come out. I told them there was a clown right outside my bedroom window. They went into my bedroom and looked around, and after that went outside and walked around the house. Of course, whoever had been there was now gone. When my parents came back inside, my mom told me that maybe I was just having a bad dream. It did seem really strange for something like this to happen, because our neighborhood had a really good reputation of low crime. In fact, we rarely ever had people knock on our door. It took me a while, but I was able to eventually fall back asleep. The next day, I started to think that I probably was just dreaming the whole thing the night before. It just seemed a little too strange for even myself to believe, and it all happened so fast. I was feeling better at that point, and wasn't scared at all to go to bed. When the time came, I got ready to go to sleep, turned the lights off, and laid down. I was getting very relaxed and starting to feel sleepy, but then I thought I heard something from my window. It was a very small and quiet noise. Not a knocking or a scratching, but the sound of the window just being touched. Had it not been completely silent in my room, I definitely would have never heard it. I opened my eyes and looked to the window. When I did, I was staring directly at a man in a creepy clown mask. This time I knew I wasn't dreaming or imagining this, because I hadn't even fallen asleep yet. I was in shock and felt like I couldn't move. The clown was just staring at me. Finally, I started screaming again like a little kid and got up and ran to my parents' room. They heard me once again and got up. They then went into my room, and this time I heard my dad yelling. He had seen the clown, and he then ran outside to chase the guy. The guy ended up getting away long before my dad could catch up with him. My parents called the police after that, and they came out to our house and talked to us. The guy that was dressed as a clown was never found, but he never came back either. To this day, I don't know who he was or what he was trying to do. This happened many years ago. I was younger and in college, and during the summers I would work at a sports stadium in the city where they had games to earn extra money. This meant I would drive back home really late at night and oftentimes get back to my parents' house after midnight. I lived about 40 minutes away from where I worked, but when it was really late I could make it home in under 30 because how there was usually no traffic. I was driving home one night after a late game. I made it about halfway home to where it changed from being city to much more of a country and rural area. I was the only car driving down the road with woods on both sides. As I was driving, I thought I noticed something on the road up ahead and I slowed down. It looked like a person, but as I got closer, I could see that it was someone dressed as a full clown. They had a clown mask and a whole clown outfit, and they were even holding several balloons in their hands. I had to nearly come to a complete stop. The clown stood facing the woods, but was standing on the road in the driving lane that I was in. As I got closer, he slowly turned to face me. I was really creeped out by this. I was going maybe 5 miles per hour and went into the opposite traffic lane to pass the clown. As I did, he started to walk towards me. He was walking really slow, so I sped up my car and drove off. The farther I drove away, the more I realized just how creepy it was. The clown was standing in the road with woods on both sides, and I didn't see a car or anything parked, so I have no idea how he got there. There wasn't really any houses in the area or businesses either. I was just happy to be away from him. Shortly after that, though, I heard the noise my car would make when I needed to get more gas, and I looked to see that the tank was almost empty. I pulled into the next gas station that I saw, which was a quiet little one with only 2 pumps, and nobody else was there. I paid and then filled up my car with fuel. As I got done and was about to get back into my car, I heard a noise coming from the distance. The woods on the edge of the gas station's property ran along the side of the road, and I saw the clown peek its head out from behind a tree. It was really dark out, so it took me a minute to realize what it was at first, but when I did, I was terrified. After the clown and I seemingly made eye contact, he emerged from the woods and began running at a full sprint straight for me. I quickly got inside my car and started it, then drove away from there as fast as I could. I drove home, and thankfully my parents were still awake because they helped me calm down. That way I could finally get to bed. I never saw that clown again. I don't know who it was or how he got to the gas station so fast. It was very strange for someone to be dressed as a clown, wandering around the woods with no houses nearby at that time of night. This story took place only about a year ago. I was home by myself at the time as my wife was out shopping. It was roughly 10 p.m., and I was watching some sports center on the living room TV. It was interrupted by the sound of a knock coming from my front door. Based on the time of night, it was strange for this to happen, so I got up and looked out the front window to see who was there before opening the door. I saw there appeared to be a man out there with a clown mask on, standing at my front door. I figured this was some teenage kid trying to be funny and pull a prank on me or something. I walked to the front door and opened it. When I opened the door, though, I saw the guy standing there about 10 feet away from me, staring at me. Now that I had a better view of his face, I could see that the guy was not wearing a clown mask, but had painted his face completely white, had a red nose on, and appeared to be his real hair dyed red, although it was possible it was a wig. The guy was wearing relatively normal clothes, aside from looking like a clown, but he didn't appear to be a teenage kid. Instead, it looked like a full-grown man. He stood there just staring at me. I asked him what he wanted and why he had knocked on my door. He just kept on staring at me. I told the man to get off my property, and I started to close my door. He just kept standing there, though. I turned and went back inside. Then I was sure to lock the door before looking out the front window again to see if the man had gone. When I looked, he wasn't there anymore, and I didn't see him. I was glad he had finally left, and was a little weirded out by the whole situation. But not even a minute later, I heard the sound of glass shattering coming from the back end of my house where the kitchen was. I knew it had to be the clown guy. I moved over to the hallway and went into the bathroom, not knowing how dangerous this guy was. I expected to hear movement from inside the house, but I didn't hear anything at all. I then went back over to where I heard the noise and saw that a large rock had been thrown through the dining room window, but nobody appeared to be in the house. I wasn't sure if this guy was inside hiding or not, so I went back into my hallway bathroom and locked myself inside, then called the police. I waited there and didn't hear anything else for the 10 minutes or so until the police arrived. Then I came out of the bathroom and met with the officers, who searched my house up and down but didn't find anyone. After that, they went out into my backyard and searched the property. To my surprise, they located the man dressed as a clown hiding deep in the woods in my backyard. He was found with several large rocks in his pockets. I'm not sure if he was planning to come back and throw more rocks at my house or use them as weapons or what, but I'm glad he ended up being caught.